Hey guys, welcome to this segment. Peter Ruder here. Tonight I'm going to talk about very important three things. Number one is something that affects millions of Americans drastically every year, especially towards the fall season. Number two, I'm going to talk about the concept of poise. And number three, I'm going to give you some secret tools that will help you beat winter blues and achieve your disorder. So, once you see somebody having feelings of hopelessness or sadness, that may be a sign of that during the winter when you observe people do that. Somebody who smiles a little bit in the past or very interactive, but not anymore. This could be a sign of that. So there are many symptoms of this, but not all of the symptoms will be seen in one person. It could be feelings of hopelessness or sadness. Sometimes it could be thoughts of suicide. It could be tendency to oversleep. It could be lack of movement, a change in appetite. Maybe the person is craving more sweet or starchy foods. It could be weight gain. That makes a lot of sense because some people do not move a whole lot during the winter because of the weather. It could be a heavy feeling in arms or legs. It could be a drop in energy level, decreased physical activity, fatigue, difficulty concentrating. It could be irritability. The person becomes easily offended or annoyed. It could be increased sensitivity to social rejection. It could be avoidance of social situations. So there are a number of things that point to S.A.D, seasonal affect disorder. The reason I want to point this out is that I'm going to give you some tips to handle this. Many people already are handling it very competently, but there's even more reason to discover more tools that you can use to handle this very well and even help loved ones or friends of yours who may be having problem dealing with winter blues, exposure to sunlight, and changing that by getting more exposure to sunlight and taking more vitamin D could be a way of dealing with it that will help um, some people or most people. So the whole idea is to get this handled temporarily while the winter is on course. So as soon as the winter is over, you can tell that people come back to life. Most people smile more and they interact more. They become themselves more, and they are a lot more pleasant to be around. But what if you can maintain that energy and good personality that you already have, or even improve upon it when other people are not smiling a whole lot, they act depressed, sad, not friendly, and during the summer you are still the same person you are? Wouldn't it be wonderful to have that high level of consistency? And so, the way to deal with that, I'm going to give you some tips now about what I do and what I've seen some friends do that help them cope with that. Here's an example here. I bought this a few months ago. You see, when you think about winter, you think about slowing down, poor circulation, not being as active as you usually do. For dexterity, to circulate blood in your fingers. Look at, I have this, I have two of these. Now play around with them, and I don't know if you can see that. Let me raise them up. Now this, and you squeeze on, squeeze. So these will help circulation to your fingers, your arms, and the more you move around, the more the circulation becomes more efficient in your system. And for sad and depressive feelings, many psychotherapists or doctors will tell you that it has to do, it's connected with blood flow, or the blood not circulating the right type of, a right amount of hormones in the body. So with that enhancement in in blood circulation by exercise, this mood elevation can take place and minimize the impact of seasonal affect disorder, which we have already established is temporary. Things like this. You get people to play around through things and, make each other catch it. Play some ball, basket. I see some people play basketball, play football, um, soccer. Occasionally, I go out and play this with some friends, irrespective of what the weather is. Making sure that I cover myself very well. These are my soccer boots. I have them right here. And what about this racket? I still see friends play over there. I haven't played in a while. And I do hiking a lot. I do hiking. When I'm not hiking, I could just walk around the block just to move. So when I hear about seasonal affect disorder, I do recognize it in other people, but because I take proactive measures to make sure I'm not drastically affected, I hardly notice it because I do all these things um, to move around a lot and to make sure that my vitamin D does not get depleted during the winter. In addition to being outside and having enough exposure to light, I do take uh, additional multivitamins, especially that vitamin D. Yoga mat right here. Stretches. They help a lot. Once you stretch the body and push the muscles a little bit, you see that circulation becomes more efficient, irrespective of your age, young, old. You don't really have to be a professional athlete to make your body give you the best of what it should by stretching. So occasionally I spread my yoga mat on the floor here and stretch a little bit, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes. And that ensures that my circulation is running at optimal and efficient level. That those minor things that we tend to underestimate can affect the mood one way or the other. And don't forget about friends. Don't forget about friends. Keep them in your mind, interact with them, ask them how they're doing, and call them up once in a while. Family, friends, interact with people a lot. So I have problem of people dealing with seasonal affect disorder by withdrawing, not talking to a whole lot of people because they feel the sadness of the winter. So the ideal way to deal with it is to interact. And it's amazing how many people ignore doing that. So many places around the city where I go, people are playing this. I go out, even if I don't play, I interact with those who play, talk with them, we chat, exchange information and talk, we become new friends. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens. So when people can do this, they're not even going to recognize what's extremely cold, though. It's about 55, between 50 and 55 degrees. But because these people brave the weather to come out and exercise, it was wonderful. Another thing I want to suggest is this. In addition to squeezing that stuff there for the fingers, this is not very heavy, but it's enough for the arms, the biceps and the triceps. This is pretty good. In addition to the stretches and the squeezing, and this, if you're doing yoga or not doing yoga, these this stuff right here will help you a lot in terms of your stretch. If you have problems stretching, you can find one of these. Buy $5 or $10 from Aldi, Walmart, or any of the retail stores. During your stretch, you can put this in your leg, your foot, like so. You often see people do this on TV, or if you go to YouTube, you can see how they use it. Do some stretch, and stretch different parts of the body as a way to make the body do more and keep circulation efficient. And if you look behind me right there, that's a medicine ball. I use that a lot as well. So the number one, I talked about seasonal affective disorder and how it impacts millions of people. And I did talk about that because it has affected many people in terms of achieving their goals, especially as it relates to New Year resolution. They give up very quickly because of how they feel. But now, let's say you don't like activities, you don't like to be outside, you don't like to do yoga, you don't like to stretch. Stretch is one of the easiest ones. What about some easy things that are even more fun, more enjoyable that you can do to handle this? Let's talk about what you can drink or eat. And primarily, I will talk about green tea. Green tea has been awesome. It's been wonderful. I have been making use of green tea for a long time now. I put honey on it, and I drink it. It helps with weight loss. So if you haven't developed that habit, give it a thought. And what about pomegranate? Pomegranate has very, very, very high concentration of antioxidants. And initially, when I heard about what you can accomplish by consuming an ounce of pomegranate a day, and then I went ahead and tried it, and it was magic. So pomegranate is great. Some, if you can buy pomegranate, the juice or the actual pomegranate, you can use that as well. Lemon juice, apple cider vinegar. These are things that you can consume to help with your weight gain, and to the more you can control your weight and exercise, the better your mood. So these are things that you can do even if you're not doing a whole lot of physical activity. What about cinnamon? If you have a ground cinnamon, you can actually put in your food and consume that. That helps as well. And I'm going to talk about the pressure points. If you want your digestive system and your circulation and other aspects of your body to function more efficiently, there are some pressure points that you could be working on to help your body do some of these maintenance naturally. And two of them I'm going to point out tonight is one right here beside your ear, right here, right here. If you press and hold on that for about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, do that maybe once or twice a day. Another one is here, right here. And there are quite a few of them in the leg area and in the arm right here. So, but the two of them that I can easily show you are here. So you try that a few times a day, and believe it or not, it helps with your circulation. It helps with your digestive efficiency and the overall functioning of the body. Identifying those pressure points and pressing not too hard but lightly where you can feel them, and hold them there for about 3 minutes a day. Help you control your develop poise. Somebody posed this question and I thought, okay, why don't we talk about it? Poise. What is poise? What makes some people stand out when they come out in public? And when they talk, you can see that there's something about their energy that's very positive, that make you want to be around them, and they show a certain level of interaction that make us want to talk with them, and something that makes us realize, okay, they're not socially awkward, and we can relate to them. Many people can relate to them, and we can take what they're saying in the public very seriously. Poise. What is poise and how do you develop? Get right to it. I want to talk about poise. The dictionary defines poise as a state of balance or equilibrium. Um, in human disposition terms, this means being dignified, having self-confidence and or bearing, having a composure, and staying composed even in terms of pressure and stress. Having that self possession and self assurance, and to be steady and stable and reliable, even in emotional turbulent times, the person still remains who they are, and it makes the person relatable because people can easily predict, okay, this is how this person is, and we can relate to the same thing over and over again. So with that said, how does a person develop poise? Some people develop it not necessarily learning from their parents, but through social interaction or some other means. So I'm going to talk about developing and maintaining poise. One of the tips I've gotten is developing true, authentic inner self. People finding out who they really are. You know, what is my authentic self? Am I the kind of person that likes to interact a lot? Is it me? Am I the kind of person that likes to speak out for other people if they're being bullied? There are some people who are that way. If they're not doing it, they're not feeling that they are who they are. They have this sense of guilt and they have this sense of obligation to stick up for those who are considered underdogs. And we've seen many of them among celebrities. The next one is facing fears. They tend to be very, very brave and confident. They face their fears and they don't really shy away from something that intimidates them. Those who are known to possess poise are known to be able to face their fears and they forgive themselves for their past mistakes without having to blame themselves and feel guilty for one or two mistakes here and there. That's number two. Number three, in terms of having this quality of poise, I've learned is knowing when to change. Those who have this quality of poise, they know when to change. They know when something is not working and they need to change it. And they go for it. They don't wait for something to force them to change. They have that vision to see ahead of time, this is not going to work or this doesn't work for me, and they change. So they don't get caught up in their past identities, who they were, and try to hang on to it, or even some traditions that are affecting themselves, loved ones, or friends negatively. They're always the first to step away from it and then draw everybody else forward into a different reality that gives better result. So they know when to change and they don't get caught up in their past identities. That's number three. Number four, in terms of having quality of poise, they are very forgiving. They forgive others and they forgive themselves. They resolve conflict and don't hold grudges. Maybe a little bit, but not a whole lot. They try as much as they can to forgive others because they know there's healing in forgiving others. So they tend to forget, forgive than the rest of us. They can fight with you, argue with you, but they take the steps to apologize where they're wrong and easily forgive, so they can have peace of mind and have good psychological disposition and when dealing with others. That's number four. Now, what is the fifth quality associated with poise? speak well of others, and they are positive. They tend to be very positive people. They see the positives in other people, and they say things to lift other people up rather than tear them down. Next, which is number six, they avoid scarcity mentality. You don't see them being too stingy. They don't portray scarcity in whatever they do. They have this sense of abundance that they project. They have this self-sufficiency and confidence that is very obvious to our onlooker. Um, Number seven there, they work on their posture. When you see them, they don't slouch or look very sad or depressed or insecure. They work on their posture because they know the energy that that posture can project. The next one there, number eight, they know their value. So if you want to price them down anything, whether for employment or anything, they will not agree with you because they know their value. They understand who they are. So they are confident in their value. They're not defined by other people. You know. The last but not the least, they model other people's good aspects. The reason they interact with other people is that they can model what works for other people because they know nobody is 100% self-sufficient, nobody is perfect, nobody have it all together. So they interact with other people. In addition to having other people learn from them, they learn from those people. So those are 9 qualities of people considered to possess poise. It's not an exhaustive list. There are many more, but these are some of the salient points associated with being poised. And I'm gonna run through the list again. Develop through authentic inner self. They face their fears. They forgive themselves for their past mistakes and they forgive others. They know when to change, yeah, and they don't get caught up in the past identities and they resolve conflicts, don't hold grudges. They speak well of others and be positive even when the other people are absent. Not those who stab you in the back a lot. Occasionally, some of them may do that. Nobody is perfect, but they don't see that as a lifestyle choice. They avoid scarcity mentality in the sense that they have this positive feeling about abundance, and they work on their posture, so they project good energy. They know their value, and they're confident in value. It's hard to put them down by saying something negative about them. They will not evaluate themselves based on other people's negative opinions, and they tend to model other people's good aspects, good attributes in order to grow. Those are 9 that I've been able to gather. As I said, there may be more. So, just to wrap up, we've been able to talk about seasonal affect disorder and how it can impact other people's goals and how well this can be easily handled by doing some fun things, including some activities and eating or drinking certain kinds of things. There's always a way to handle any kind of situation, and it's a matter of exploring how to do it. Now, a lot of people handle seasonal affective disorder very well, and it makes sense to help with friends or relatives or other people who might be dealing with it because that can affect them in terms of achieving their goals. And once that obstacle is removed, you'll be amazed how much they can achieve in terms of their New Year's resolution, whether it's weight loss. Weight loss is one of the common New Year resolution goals, and it's amazing what people can achieve along that line if they have this obstacle removed, this obstacle called a temporary winter blues, seasonal affect disorder. So that's it for tonight. And feel free to share our page, guest a share with friends, and have them go in and like it. Some people have already put in some ideas there, which I think benefits others. And if you have your own page that you created, or website or web page you want to share, or something about yourself or what you do, if you get it on KSA Share, if you click like and you become a member there, you can always put your item there. That will be a way of reaching a whole lot of people as well. All right, thanks for listening, and I look forward to interacting with you in the next segment. Have a good night.